Once upon a time, in a peaceful little village called Greenhill, there lived two brothers named Tom and Eddie. They were farmers, but not like the others in the village. Tom and Eddie were known far and wide as the lazy farmers. While other villagers woke up early, worked hard in the sun, and grew vegetables and grains to feed their families, Tom and Eddie had a very different idea about life. "We were not born to work like donkeys," Tom used to say. "That's right. Life is for enjoying, not sweating," Eddie would agree, lying on a haystack with a slice of watermelon. The two brothers had inherited a large piece of land from their late father. It was good land, rich, fertile, and perfect for growing crops. But instead of planting, watering, and harvesting, they used the land for napping, dancing, and throwing parties. When the villagers passed by and saw the empty fields, they would shake their heads and whisper, "What a waste of good land." Their father would be so disappointed. But Tom and Eddie didn't care. "We'll plant something next week," they always said. But next week never came. As time passed, their barn began to fall apart. The roof had holes, the door was broken, and the cows wandered in and out freely. The chickens didn't lay many eggs because they were always hungry, and the goats looked thin and tired. But still, Tom and Eddie were not worried.
"We have enough food from the market,"
Eddie said while drinking cold lemonade.
"And enough shade from this old tree,"
Tom added, as he lay under it snoring. They often made plans, oh yes. Big plans. "We'll grow the biggest pumpkins in the village next season. We'll start a strawberry business. We'll raise the happiest cows." But the only thing they grew was grass, and their business was sleeping. One summer, something strange happened. The sky didn't rain for many weeks. The ground became dry and cracked. The river near the village began to shrink. The other farmers worked twice as hard. They dug small wells, saved water, and protected their crops. Tom and Eddie? They laughed.
"Why dig when you can rest? Rain will come. It always does."
But this time, the rain didn't come. By late August, food in the village started to run low. The farmers had a small harvest, but it wasn't enough. Prices at the market rose. The villagers became worried. Tom and Eddie had no vegetables, no fruits, and their animals were too weak to sell. So, for the first time in a long time, they had to walk to the market without anything to sell. "Eggs cost how much?" Tom shouted. "3 times more than last year," Eddie replied. The brothers looked at each other in shock. Their pockets were almost empty. Maybe we should plant something?" Tom suggested. "Like what?" Eddie asked. "I don't know, anything. Corn? Beans?" But the ground was too dry, and they didn't know how to dig a well. They had never paid attention to the village meetings or farming lessons. They didn't even remember where the tools were. Now they were truly in trouble. One day, a man arrived at their broken farm. It was Uncle Joe, their father's older brother. He was strong, smart, and always smelled like soil and sunshine. Uncle Joe looked around the place and sighed. "Your father worked hard to build this farm," he said. "And now look at it." Tom and Eddie looked down in shame. "We made some mistakes," Eddie said quietly. "We just wanted to rest a little," Tom added. "A little?" Uncle Joe raised an eyebrow. "You rested for 3 years." Uncle Joe didn't yell. Instead, he smiled and said, "You boys need a lesson. Pack your bags." "Where are we going?" they asked. "To my farm," he said. "You'll work with me for the whole season." At Uncle Joe's farm, everything was different. The rooster crowed at 5 a.m., and the brothers had to wake up and begin the day. They dug, planted, watered, and fed the animals. They cleaned the barn, fixed fences, and even learned how to build a chicken coop. Every muscle in their bodies screamed, and their hands became full of blisters. "Is this what real farmers do every day?" Eddie asked one morning. "Yes," Uncle Joe said proudly. "And we love it." At first, Tom and Eddie hated every moment. But something strange began to happen. After 2 weeks, they felt stronger. After 4 weeks, they started to enjoy the smell of fresh tomatoes and warm milk. After 6 weeks, they laughed as they raced to see who could plant faster. Work was hard, but rewarding. At the end of the season, Uncle Joe took them to the market. This time, their baskets were full. They had tomatoes, carrots, eggs, and fresh milk. Customers smiled and paid good money. The brothers felt proud for the first time in years. "You see," Uncle Joe said, "lazy days bring empty pockets. But hard work brings full hearts." Tom and Eddie nodded. They had learned more in 3 months than in 3 years of doing nothing. When they returned to their own farm in Greenhill, the villagers were surprised. "Is that really Tom and Eddie? They look different. They look like real farmers." The brothers smiled and waved. They began working the next day. They cleaned the barn, planted seeds, dug a small well, and even helped their neighbors. Their land, once empty, began to bloom. Vegetables grew, animals danced in the sun, and the birds sang from the trees. And guess what? They never threw lazy parties again. Instead, they invited the village for a harvest celebration. They cooked food from their own land and shared stories around a fire. From that day on, they were no longer called the lazy farmers. They became known as the wise farmers. Life may seem easier when you avoid effort, but real joy comes from growth. Work may feel hard at first, but it builds your strength, your pride, and your future. Lazy days bring empty plates. Busy hands build better lives. Thank you so much for watching this story. I hope it made you smile, and maybe learn something too. Life is full of lessons, even from lazy farmers. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Your support means everything to me. See you next time for another story.